Chapter 82. Don't be nervous. At the very least, try not to act nervous. The voice gripped her close, implored her. Suddenly, it was a whisper, very far away. Don't be nervous. At the very least. She thought she might be waking up. D3 awoke. Her eyes widened. The whirlpool she'd been staring at had evaporated, like so much charcoal dust wafting to the shadows. The metal encasement surrounding the small black vortex had dismantled. She was holding the pieces. The wiring had been cut, power was down, and the miserable little light bulb hanging overhead was even turned off. A blackout. D3 didn't like it, not remembering. The bizarre, dreamlike elements of Sycamore Downs must have finally taken their toll. But D3 shrugged. At least she'd gotten the job done. Whether or not she'd remembered actually doing it seemed trivial. Deceit agreed. The renegade time lady found being in control of a carbon-based life form much more suitable than silicone. Previously, she'd been forced to inhabit the formless, inky liquid plastic hive mind known as the Nestine consciousness. Without her superior intellect, they would now revert to their previous, primitive survival attempts. Deceit pictured them on the battlefield of Sycamore Downs, watched them stumble and fall like tin soldiers. Not really. They were rubber, but still. Although they were big and goofy and fake, low-rent werewolves and test crash dummies, for a very long time, they had kept getting back up. After several minutes, trying to eventually wear down the resistance to the rift manipulator. Not anymore. Deceit was currently hijacking a free ride to her new time capsule. The renegade alien knew she'd get to the rift. Eventually. Find a way off this smelly, fishmonger planet. To have the traveler's time capsule simply dropped into her lap? She could maintain her cognizance. She was relatively confident she could take over Traveler himself. About 10, 12 more lives? Free? Deceit became excited. Someone up above was looking out for her. She snuggled down tight into the body, waiting to strike. The tired old Time Lord in blue, he would be literally no problem. Deceit found her only easier consciousness to control besides the Autons was this human. Her stuffed little monkey. Her key to freedom and many, many more lives. D3 closed the attic behind her, swore she'd heard someone whispering. Covert but excited, almost like kids murmuring at Christmas. Going through the kitchen now took a few steps. The version she'd utterly destroyed before took some work. Apparently, the rift manipulator was altering reality. Cutting off the power, the drain from the rift restored normal reality. Seemed very basic, the concept now. D3 wondered why on earth the Traveler tried to sound so provocative and genius when the idea was fairly simple. Deceit yawned. D3 walked the rickety cedar steps down to level 2, the fantastic library hallway. The staircase transformed beneath her magically to deluxe polished marble, decadent Roman style. She absently picked up her grenade, intentionally left atop the time travel novel when she was here before. She was proud of herself. In her mind, D3 was smiling when she finally reached the end of the megalithic Renaissance corridor. She pulled the pin to her explosive device and rolled it expertly down the 3 immense rooms to the approximate center. The young Mercurian woman slowly descended the steps, counting. The little internal grin moved to her face, expressing giddiness. Explosions sent debris and torrents of noise. It was Time's way of letting the renegade alien know her plans were proceeding properly. Right on time. D3 stopped. She heard a woman's voice over the explosion. How is that possible? D3 was listening. Deceit said nothing. As she loaded, then cocked her MAC-10 machine gun, D3 blinked rapidly. Something extremely painful had gotten into her eye. She touched her face. D3 was shocked to find that, while smiling outwardly for the past minute, she'd cried a single, black, sticky liquid plastic tear. Sully blew off the head of yet another waddling mannequin. Aces. He sarcastically thanked heaven, as he knew this would never possibly get boring. Abruptly, all the autons in the attack wave ceased, even those in the store. Shambling toward the retired Commodore, aiming a double barrel, quit moving. Sully watched dummies, storefront dolls, and Halloween decorations toppled to the ground. No power. That meant she'd be coming down the stairs any minute. He had to get ready, and fast. Sully unloaded, then dropped his gun. It hit the floor almost faster than the autons whom were suddenly without animation or ambition. He focused on Mr. Blue's psychic message. When D3 returns, she won't be the same. Don't let on that you know anything regarding about what's going to happen next. You need to be prepared. Sully went over the private details he had committed to memory, as he had heard in the Time Lord's message before. It was delivered 10 minutes before he let D3 go upstairs. Sully, Mr. Blue's voice gripped the retired Commodore, implored him. Don't be nervous. At the very least, try not to act nervous. Why? Deceit cannot know.